Ready?
Yep.
Three, two. Well, welcome to the Creatures of the Night podcast, episode 9, the longest running 9 episode hiatus in the history of podcasting.
Yes. It's like Avatar. It takes 13 years between episodes. Oh, am I freezing?
You're frozen. Here we go with technical difficulties.
Let's switch. Let's switch to the shitty camera.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but anyway, I'll figure it out later. So that's right. As our friend Narciso said, welcome to episode 9.
And like always, this is going to be a massive recap of what we've seen, what we want to see, and then some of our topics of the night. So, how's everything with you, man?
Everything's good. Everything's okay.
Everything's good, man. Getting ready going on a big trip, I hear.
Yeah, going to Europe with the family, going to London, and taking the train to Paris.
Nice.
First time in Europe for me. So very excited. The kids are excited. I'm nervous actually for that long flight.
It's a long flight. It is a long flight.
Yeah. We did like a little test run a few months ago to just Boston for the weekend.
Yeah.
See how the kids deal with it, and it was good, but it was only like 3 hours.
I mean, your older one should be kind of okay. It's the smaller one.
It's the 2-year-old. Yeah. That's the thing. That's what I'm worried about. I get kicked out of the plane or fight with somebody over something, but we'll see what happens.
Nah, you'll be all right. You'll be all right. So, what's up, man? What have you been watching lately?
Well, I've seen quite a few things. Do you want to start with the first one that you mentioned, or?
Yeah, man, go for it.
So I think we're gonna talk about DarkMan.
That's what I mentioned. I forgot already.
It was DarkMan. Were we gonna?
No, we'll get to DarkMan.
Oh, okay, my bad. Okay. Well, I mean, the first one I think we should talk about is a movie that you recommended. You had watched it before me.
Oh yeah. This came out.
I think last year.
Was it only a year? Okay, I thought it was a little bit older than that, but yeah.
Yeah, it's listed as 2023, so it came out last year.
Mm-hmm.
Went over my radar. I didn't even know about it.
Yeah.
It's a movie where it's technically like an international film, but I think it's co-financed by United States, so it's mainly in English.
Swedish film, right?
Finland. Yeah.
Well, the movie
SiSU. Yeah.
SiSU.
SiSU.
I remember seeing the trailer for that when it first came out, and I was like, it looks like a bootleg, wannabe Tarantino film. And in a way it is.
Yeah.
But I always remembered it, and I'm like, maybe I'll catch it one day. And then one day I saw it, I looked for it, and I saw it was available to stream. So I watched it. As soon as I finished watching it, I texted you and I said, hey, you gotta watch this shit. This is bloody as fuck. It is very on the nose with Tarantino. They took a lot of influence, but it's their own thing, and it's fun. It's a super fun watch.
Yes, I was gonna say I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't see the trailer. A lot of times I was interested in what you told me it was about, but I didn't want to see the trailer because I didn't want to judge it too much.
So you liked it?
Yes, I liked it. With the minute it started, the first thing is I like it looks good. Like it looks
beautifully shot.
Filmed
Yes.
well, and it looks legit. Doesn't look like a cheapo movie. I love the way it looked.
Good cinematography, great lighting, good locations. It felt like the beginning scene of Inglourious Bastards, kind of.
It reminded me, yeah, it definitely there's an Inglourious Bastards thing with the chapters, and even the font looks like Django Unchained kind of thing.
It has the chapters.
Yes, I like that, and that's what and it got me hooked, and it's short and sweet. Like the first chapter, I think it's called Gold.
Yeah.
It reminded me of I haven't seen the whole movie, but I've seen the beginning. It reminded me of From There Will Be Blood. The whole scene when he's like finding the oil in the beginning.
Right.
And he's by himself, and it gave me a weird like Dances with Wolves vibes with the horse and the dog and him just doing his own thing.
Yeah. It's cool because it's straight to the point. They immediately introduce you to the main guy, and they immediately introduce you to the ragtag protagonist Nazi crew. They all get their little like Inglourious Bastard style intro.
Yeah.
Different characters of this band of like bastards that are going around just raping and eating shit in the countryside while the war is going on. I guess they're just kind of fleeing on their own.
Yeah, it looked like they just Yeah, they just finished
End of the
doing the
war.
invasion and they're leaving and trying to get on a plane.
Right. It's kind
And
of the end of
then
the war. They're just kind of like pirating right now. They're just raping and getting whatever they can, and then they want to get the fuck out. And they bump into the main guy, who's
mhm.
like a gold miner, but he's also this like legendary military guy.
Ex-commando, yeah, yeah.
Right, right. And they're like, of course, they fucked with the wrong guy, you
Yeah,
know?
the minute chapter 2 hits, I think the Nazis, it turns into, I'm sure you've heard it, it's like Rambo. It's like Rambo.
Yes, kind of,
It's
yeah.
like Rambo with Nazis, where they find out he's like a one-man killing machine and a legend, an ex-commando and all this crap.
You
Oh,
know, you know where the movie's gonna go.
yeah,
Right
yeah.
from the first kill with a knife through the guy's like skull. You're like, okay, this is where we're going now. So,
Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, first off, the intro, the very opening shot, it has like a map of like occupied Nazi. That was
uh-huh.
it felt like Lord of the Rings. They had like this really cool animated map
Yeah,
with
yeah, it's
with
kind
the
of
Na-
little Indiana Jones-ish as
yeah,
well.
with the Nazi logo. It's like on fire. That was a good intro. That got
Yeah.
to the point. But yeah,
Now,
once those Nazis start fucking with him, you know what's happening, and you're just waiting for it, and you want it to happen.
kind of like rated R Indiana Jones, if instead of just punching Nazis, use like literally obliterating them in the most creative ways
There's a lot of things the movie reminded me of. The Indiana Jones thing that definitely kicked in near the end. That final act,
with the plane and all the stuff. Yeah.
right before the plane, when he's on the caravan and they're going through, it reminded me of Indiana Last Crusade a little bit with the tank.
Yes, yes.
And of course, first Raiders, and it had a Mad Max vibe to it with the
British area and the car
with,
chases and all that. But
with the POWs, the women POWs kind of had a Mad Max feel to it there too.
it has a few moments where I just started laughing because it was a little too much.
Yes.
Like the why are they sending Nazis in full Nazi gear underwater to hunt for this
Oh yeah,
guy?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Turns jumping in with helmets and I'm like, what are you guys doing?
The movie starts, it gets more and more ridiculous as it goes on, and but it's okay. But I bought it. It got
No,
to a
no.
point, especially near the end, where it gets super ridiculous, like an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. I was laughing out loud with the plane stuff.
Oh, it's like total 80s bullshit. He's like hanging off the side of a plane with a knife and you're like, get the fuck out of here, this guy, bro. He cuts through the floor, right, to get in and shit. You're like, huh?
Yeah, yeah. Well, we're gonna skip to the end.
An
Yeah,
unstoppable
dude,
machine.
he's riding straight at it on one of those motorcycles with like a pickaxe,
Right.
and he gets the bottom. They don't show it. I'm like, okay, that was cool. It's bullshit. But and then they show him just hanging underneath, and then he lets go and catches the plane again toward the tail. That's when I started cracking up. I was like, forget it, paquete, paquete. And after that, I was like, well, whatever happens, happens.
Also, I mean, if anybody's listening and they haven't seen it, we're not really telling you the synopsis detail by detail. We're just kind of jumping around because it's just like one of the many films that we're catching up on. But there's a specific scene that I didn't understand. When the regime of Nazis get to the point of the road where the plane is crashed.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a part in the movie where these pilots land to get gas, right? And he's there. He's hung. And
Yeah, that hanging scene I had to rewind because that's one that I didn't really understand how he got away with it. But
but I think he unscrewed something with his foot where he can kind of like put his weight on it and kind of hang in there
yeah,
for a while. And
I
then
think
they
he, yeah,
cut
he
it down.
impaled. I think he impaled himself with that thing,
Yeah, yeah,
pull the
some crazy
leverage
shit.
off. Yeah, yeah. But I had to rewind that part.
But then when they cut him down or whatever, he kills one of the guys, and then you don't see what happens, right?
Hmm.
The next, later on, when you see him again, the Nazis get to that same plane in a different area, crash landed with a pilot in it. So we led to believe that what he do, he kidnapped the pilot, got in that little tiny plane with him, and then survived the crash. I don't like. I
Yeah,
didn't
I'm
see
not sure. I'm not sure. You're right. I don't. Yeah. At first, I thought, oh, he just put the pilot in there, somehow turned on the plane and let it fly on its own, and it happened to
No.
crash there. But then he was there too.
Yeah, he was there too. It's like a huge. It's almost like a deleted scene. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
make a jump cut. You're like, wait, wait, wait. You guys jumped a little too much. I don't understand what the hell happened here. But whatever.
Yeah, yeah, but I guess yeah, I don't know why I don't know what happened there, but I do like the reveal. I like when the not the main Nazi guy, but like the sniper second banana when he sees the rope and he's like, "That's my rope," and he's like,
Oh yeah.
And you see, and then they realize that they're still alive, and all the Nazis are taking a shit. They're looking at each other.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I
So
like obviously the main guy is great. Obviously, I haven't seen him in anything else. I'm sure he's a Finnish actor. I think he's worked with that director before. They do movies
that's
together.
exactly what it is. Yeah, I wasn't really too prepared for this movie, so I don't have like the director's name or the main actor. He was great though, like a very rugged man's man looking guy. You know, he's like
Yeah,
a
he
perfect
reminded me of like Bryan Cranston, like a Finnish Bryan Cranston with a beard.
except Diesel. And
Yeah,
there's scenes right out of Rambo. There's scenes where he's practically operating on himself with fire. Remember that? You're like, what the hell?
he
It's
does a
like,
couple times. He does the same thing. He cauterizes it with matches. He puts the dirt and he starts stitching himself, and he pours I think gasoline on him, and he's screaming. "Ugh." Yeah, that was good.
there's a scene where he sets himself on fire.
Yes, I like that part.
I was like, wow.
I actually saw a YouTube video where a doctor watched the movie, and he was of course totally destroying it, of course, but he was having fun with it. He was like, "Yeah, I mean that was a quick burn, but that's
All of your
too
body.
long." Yeah, and the one thing he mentioned that I didn't think about till afterwards, his beard didn't even burn. He should have had him at least all fucked up for the rest of the movie. His
Hey,
beard,
that's fucking
like a
man beard,
skeleton.
baby. That ain't burning in fire. That's a man's beard.
And since we're talking about that scene, that was a unique. I've never seen that in a movie where someone cuts your throat and breathes through your open
Oh,
trachea.
yes.
That was great. I was like, what? And he does it like 4 or 5 times to all the people.
The creativity in this film and the creative kills. Like, I thought that, like, Terrifier was creative with kills. This shit was, like, very creative, Rambo-esque level, like, brutality, man. I was like, this is amazing. It's like a real life video game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I highly recommend you guys watch it if you're into like bloody turn your brain off action, but actually that looks good.
Yeah.
It's actually well done and it's super fun. It goes by quick too. It's a fun watch. Any other thoughts on Sisu?
Oh, yeah, yeah. I really like how he killed the bad guy at the end. That was a cool scene.
That was a cool scene.
It reminded me kind of it reminded me of a mixture of like Doctor Strangelove,
It
the
is.
bomb, the
It's pretty much
bomb.
what it is.
Yeah.
Strapped to the
That
bomb.
also kind of reminded me of like the end of like a Schwarzenegger movie, like True Lies, when he says you're fired and shoots him on the missile.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
'Cause that whole scene, he was beating him with the parachute clip. That was a good scene, and it got really dramatic, and it was almost like Passion of Christ. He's like whipping him with the thing, and you know you see that bomb there for a long time. You're like, hey, what's he gonna do? Is he gonna ride the
Oh yeah,
bomb?
for sure.
I thought he was gonna ride the bomb and everything. Oh, the biggest paquete is the plane crash at the end.
Oh, for sure.
He fell in like muck, but come on, that was the biggest paquete.
No, that guy's indestructible.
I know. I
Homie's
know.
like the Terminator, bro. It's like nonstop. First of all, how many times does he get shot in that movie? Blown up, burnt. Like, okay, the
Not through
one
people.
scene.
I know we're talking about paquete, the 50 cal scene, right?
Oh no, 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 no! Better than that.
Bullshit, that would have gone right through them.
The one scene that shocked me. I mean, I was
Oh,
like, "What the fuck?" It came out of nowhere. Was the horse landmine scene? That shit. I was like, "Oh my god!"
yeah, that
That
was
came
brutal. Came out of
nowhere.
nowhere. Yeah, that was good. And the whatever the effects were really good.
Oh yeah, man! It looked like real chunks of horse flew everywhere. How did he survive that? Just because he was on top of that mammoth horse?
Yeah, and then how did he throw that mine on top of the guy's head without activating it? But whatever.
He's like unstoppable. Yeah, man. He's
But
great.
I
He's like
love that scene too when they're sending him one at a time and they're all like,
in the fog, like the smoke. They can't see where they're going.
yeah, it reminded me like anything the Nazis like, how many more people do we got? And then they start. So another part that they use the women right to walk ahead.
Yeah, they used two of them, one on each
Yeah,
side.
yeah. But then they're okay at that point. They kind of.
You didn't see it, but I saw what's it called? Poor Things with Emma Stone. It's funny. I watched it, and the next day she won the Oscar for it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. We were watching the Oscars.
So it's weird as fuck. Beautifully shot movie. It has Mark Ruffalo, which is my favorite character. Fucking a degenerate, like alcoholic, like traveler, womanizer, or whatever. The best part about that movie, to be honest with you, is yes, Emma Stone, and you also get like a super good makeup, deformed William Dafoe.
Yeah, I saw the pictures of it in the Oscar clips.
Yeah, so I gave that one a shot. I saw it with Dina. We both dug it, man. It was very cool. It was like very like
Tim Burton-y. It looked like very
yes,
like
it's
old
very
school Tim
stylistic,
Burton.
very stylistic, everything super stylized. Everything is weird. It's like a fictitious time, so it's kind of like steampunk
Yeah.
technology that does never really existed mixed in with like the Victorian age, you know? So it's kind of like it's kind of fantasy, you know, and but it's I'll tell you one thing. You see a lot of Emma Stone in this movie. She's
Oh,
butt booty naked the whole movie, and she's having sex like 80% of the film. At one point, she goes to
wow.
Paris and becomes a Parisian whore.
Interesting.
She's,
I didn't sense that at all from what I saw, but
oh, me neither. Me neither. I thought it was like some weird fantasy, whatever. And I'm like, basically, she's kind of
French
like,
movie. It looks like a French.
she's kind of like the Bride of Frankenstein.
Okay.
Uh, she's a different character in the beginning of the movie, like the Bride of Frankenstein is. She's herself, and she commits suicide. She jumps off of a bridge.
Mm.
William Dafoe is kind of like Dr. Frankenstein, but he's not by those names, but it's essentially that type of idea where he has like these guys that work in the bridges and they're always looking for fresh bodies so they can experiment on. She's pregnant when she jumps off the bridge and the baby's still alive. This is how fucking dark this movie is. So what he does is he takes the baby out and transplants his brain onto her body. So when he brings her back, essentially she's an infant in a grown woman's body.
Okay.
And she's like the majority of the movie, she goes through different phases where she's becoming more intelligent, you know,
Mm.
starts to become very like sexually active and experimental, and the movie gets really fucking weird and interesting. And then she runs away with Mark Ruffalo to Paris because he falls in love with her. And it's a crazy fucking movie, man. But it's very interesting. It's different than anything out there right now. That's for damn sure. So
No, it
it's funny.
sounds interesting.
I saw that and I saw Lisa Frankenstein. So essentially, I saw Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein non-related back to back. So those are the last two watches I had. Lisa Frankenstein was actually what I was hoping it was going to be. It's a very 80s centric, fun rom com. That movie looks like it's directed by Tim Burton. Everything about it looks like a set, like from Edward Scissorhands.
But
But
like monsters, kind of like how monsters looked. The Rob Zombie.
kind of, but more on a 80s setting. So like, you know how like in Edward, actually, I would say it's more like Edward Scissorhands. How like all the houses are cookie cutters, but they're like different colors, and except everything is more neon lit and it's a lot more nighttime. And it's all 80s soundtrack. It's in the 80s, so
Oh,
everything is 80s style, 80s music, and all this shit. And it's also a little bit gory and dark, but at the same time, it's very lighthearted and fun. You know,
is
very
that based on
young
something?
movie.
Is Lisa Frankenstein based on a book or something? Or a series of
No,
books?
no, it's a script by Diablo Cody. She's that lady.
Oh, yeah, I know who that she is. Yeah, that she did
It's
Juno, wrote Juno and Jennifer's
yes,
Body.
yes, exactly. This is Zelda Williams' first directorial movie.
Oh, his
So Robin
daughter.
Williams' daughter.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. So at one point they have like a montage where he's going through. I don't know. No, at the end, I don't want to give anything away, but towards the end, there's a really cool credit cookie. That the only reason I noticed is because I heard about it. I don't know if on YouTube or somewhere. The Frankenstein guy later on when he's already entirely redone his body and he's like more normal now. He's like a person. He's wearing Robin Williams rainbow suspenders from Morgan Mindy
Oh,
as a cookie.
interesting. As a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
homage.
a little homage to him, yeah, to her dad or whatever. But the movie, you would like that movie. I think it's a super fun watch. It's sort of like an 80s dark comedy. Well done. Not like, you know how now everything, the trend is to be like Stranger Things with add as much synth wave in there as possible with that one hit 80s song and try to capitalize on nostalgia. This is different. This is like more like a true to heart trying to mimic an 80s like
Like Heather's, like a dark comedy like Heather's.
no, it is exactly like Heather's with a fantasy twist of Frankenstein. But that's pretty much what it is because it's a couple that starts doing really fucked up shit. They start killing like the
Mm.
bully and shit and like taking their organs and parts to replace it with his and stuff. So
Okay, yeah.
and of course, there's a twist at the end. She dies and he brings her back. So right when he starts the process with her, she's like back to step one of where she started with him, where she's kind of like everything has to be redone, and her hair is black and white, kind of like the bride. She's
Yeah.
leaning down with him. But it's a fun film. I highly recommend. I feel like that film is gonna be a cult classic in the next 10 years or so. It hits the nostalgia beats perfectly. It's well done. I love the cinematography and the lighting. Everything is super like super neon, but not in a stupid, shitty way. In a cool way. Like it kind of reminds me. It's like also kind of reminds me of the Golden Girls. It has that old facade of an
Oh,
old
okay.
80s house, like a Miami
Like a
house.
grandma's house or something. Yeah.
Yeah, but like a it's hard to explain, but if you watch it, you'd understand what I mean. It's a really cool flick. It has a vibe for sure.
Okay. So,
So those are the last two films that I previously caught besides Sisu. So anything else you've been watching?
yeah, I saw a few movies since the last time that we spoke. I mean, I finally saw Dune, unrelated, but I liked it. I want to see
Oh,
part two.
oh no, I saw part one. I haven't seen part two yet.
Part two, but I hear it's really good. You're saying it's even better.
Yeah, it's better than the first one. They say so.
But yeah, but movies like this that we would talk about. Yeah, I saw three movies from three different directors that we used to admire when we were younger. They used to do really
Okay.
good movies. I guess the first one I'm gonna talk about is
Oh,
Eli,
classic.
huh?
New films or old films?
No, they're new.
Okay.
These
Okay.
are new films, but the each of these movies were directed by a director that once was
Really,
one.
Scott?
Yeah, Ridley Scott's one of them. Like I'm gonna talk
Napoleon?
about Eli Roth's movie, Ridley Scott,
Oh,
and
Thanksgiving.
John
Okay.
Woo. These are all directors that we admired.
I forgot that John Woo made this film. I
Yeah.
gotta watch that. Is he back to form or is it like he lost it, he never really gained it back?
Well, yeah, we'll just talk about that one then. I think he lost his form when it came to the action, which surprised me. It's not a long movie. I think it's an hour and a half, an hour and 40 minutes. The
Yeah.
first hour of the movie I actually liked more than the last half, which turns into like a revenge John
What's the
Wick.
name of it?
Silent Night.
Silent Night, that's right.
And this is his first American movie in like 20 years. His last US movie was the shitty Ben Affleck movie Paycheck from 2003. And then he's been doing movies in China ever since, these epic
I
samurai
mean,
movies and stuff. But
to be honest with you, I think that's where he probably made his most money here, but I feel like this is where you lose all your direction and artistic control over shit. Once you come here, you get the paycheck, but you let the studios control you and you lose your mojo. It's hard
yeah,
to get it back.
yeah, that's true. And in this one, the first hour is actually pretty good because the movie starts with his son gets killed in a drive-by like
Okay.
in LA. But the opening of the movie is literally the main character, the guy who played RoboCop in the remake, just running in slow motion with blood, and his son has already been killed. They don't show it. He's chasing the bad guys, and then one of them that shoots him in the neck, leaves him for dead, but he survives.
Okay.
So he has an operation. He can't speak. The whole movie, he doesn't say anything. That's why it's called Silent Night. Also, because it's
Oh,
Christmas time.
has nothing to do with Christmas or nothing.
No, it's actually it's also Christmas.
Oh, okay. I would hope so.
It's
Yeah.
also Christmas, but he
All right.
doesn't speak at all in the whole movie. There's actually hardly any talking in the whole movie. Other characters talk, but very briefly. So the whole first act of the first chunk of the movie is just him like depressed, dealing with it, and then he decides to get revenge. And then all that is all no talking, like a montage, but a big chunk of the movie is just him like working out, prepping, learning to fight with knives, with guns. He buys a car and he starts learning how to like drive crazy, and it's really well done. Just all montage with music, doom, 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 doom. And he has a plan that he's gonna get ready by the following year, by next Christmas Eve, he's gonna kill them all.
Okay. So he
But
has a timeline.
Yeah. And then of course, the police don't do anything and everything. So he starts following the bad guys, figuring out the whole operation and leaving everything for the cops to know what happened. And he's just gonna go on like on a suicide mission and kill them all.
Okay.
And when that part happens, that's when the movie starts to go down. I was super surprised. It felt like, oh my God, he doesn't got it anymore. The
That's where
action, the action,
that's where
yeah,
shit gets good.
it happened so abruptly. And then the first half of the movie, he's doing so well without the action that when it kicks into the action, it feels like it doesn't feel right. And he sprinkles his little good things in there, but it's nothing as good as what we, the classic John Woo. He does do
Stop
the.
motion pigeons.
There's no pigeons.
Oh, no
There's no
fire.
pigeons. No, I'm sure there's birds somewhere, but there was no pigeons. He does do the hard boil thing where it's one long shot of him going up a stairwell. That part
Yeah.
was cool. But you can see the kinks in it. Like you could tell they didn't have a lot of money, and there's scenes where you can see the walls wobbling.
Oh no.
And get up on the wall, you can see the fake walls wobbling. It's
Weird.
all it's all the new thing of CGI blood, no real squibs. And that
Nice.
ruins it for John Woo because it doesn't look right. It doesn't have any of the slow motion blood. It's
No,
fake blood.
no.
It is bloody. There's a scene in Silent Night that actually was just like a scene in Sisu, where he shoots the Nazi underneath the chin and blows the top of his head off.
Uh-huh.
In Sisu, they have a scene like that in this one, and that part looks really
I bet you look better in Sisu.
good. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to look different. The Sisu one actually looked real. That's probably
Yeah,
why.
it was practical.
The
Yeah.
other one was, all this CG blood, but the shot was different. It was like from on top of his head, so it was cool.
Okay.
So you could see the blood
Okay.
splattering up. Yeah. But overall, it was disappointing. That one was disappointing.
That is disappointing. We used to be so hardcore on him when we were in college. Him
Yeah,
and Chow Yun Fat. That's what he needs. He needs Chow Yun Fat again.
he needs Chow Yun Fat Face.
You don't change Chinatown. Chinatown changed you.
So that's it. And of course, not big spoiler. It's one of those movies where he dies at the end to get his revenge, and no big deal, and leaves a note for his wife, leaves a
Okay.
copy of everything. They like he solved the case and killed everybody. Like a Breaking Bad type ending where everything's set up at the end.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah,
But
I don't think I'll be watching it again.
another movie that I finally finished. I started watching it, and it took me a while to watch it. That I was so disappointed. Actually, was Napoleon. I don't know how you felt, but I was disappointed in that.
I liked it,
Like,
but it's a slow burn. It's not what the trailers make it out to be. The trailers make it out to be this epic opus of the rise of Napoleon and what an amazing general he is and the battles. And it's like there's a little bit of that sprinkled out, but it's more of the love story between him and his wife, and it's like and the politics and stuff. And I think it starts to build up well, and then when it starts to dive into what his wife is up to and the politicians not liking what he's doing, it loses steam. And then they build it up again for another battle, and then they do it again. And I feel like really needed to choose what kind of film this is going to be. Is this going to be more gladiator-esque, driven by action, or is this going to be more like what's the name of that one that he did last? That was another medieval movie that flopped. Super expensive.
the last duel or something like that.
Yeah, The Last Duel. It's like
I heard it was good. I want to see it. I never saw that one.
another long one, but it's like
From the point of view of everybody. Yeah.
it's two different styles, and I feel like he did this film and he got caught in between that mentality where he was doing a little bit of both, and it suffers from it. I enjoyed it at the end because I love historical films and I love Joaquin Phoenix when he's on these like all in modes, and I think he was all in as Napoleon, and the battle scenes were really fucking cool, especially that battle on the ice.
Yeah, they use that a lot in the trailer. My
And
favorite
stuff.
the battles was the final one, the one with the British, I think. When the horses were going around the grid, that battle was really good. I think it was the
The
longest
one
one.
that he loses.
Yeah, the one that he gets shot in the head
Yeah, he kind of nods at the general and then he retreats or whatever. But
I agree with you. I think that was the problem. It didn't know what kind of movie it wanted to be. And just weird, there was just weird decisions in it. Like I understand why they don't do it, and I don't mind reading subtitles, but it really bothered me that everyone's just speaking their regular language, like their regular accents. It really threw me off. Remember,
Well,
Joaquin's just speaking like he's from California, and everyone's speaking like the actors are speaking like their natural voices. You know,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
thought was odd, and a big part of the movie too. I felt like probably it is. It's so it feels like shit's missing. Like
Oh,
the
I'm sure there's like a 4 hour director's cut eventually.
yeah, because there's like a scene him talking to his wife and they're angry, and then they'll cut and they're talking again, but they're not angry, and then they'll cut and it's like 2 years later. It's like what? Like it jumped around a lot, but not out of order. It just went forward very quickly. It
That's the
was too
thing. That's
much.
why I'm telling you, there's probably like a 4 hour cut because he covers so much. He tries to
Yeah.
cover so much historical ground in like a what is it, 2.5 hours or something? Maybe it's
Yeah, it's not
longer.
that long. Yeah, it was only like 2.5 hours. Not long, not very long for those type of movies. Yeah.
And they're literally trying to cover his coming up the ranks to literally his death
Yeah.
in 2.5 hours. And remember, Napoleon practically conquered the world. It's like that's a lot to shove in there. Um,
It reminded me of what happened with the movie Alexander. Remember that movie was a mess too. And then
yes,
the 4 hour version that now makes more sense. So there's probably a long version, yeah. Or that would have made a good like mini series.
there is. I just saw an Alexander miniseries on Netflix. That was very good. It's
Oh,
like
the
maybe,
Napoleon one would have made a good in the miniseries too.
yeah. But that's the thing. Nowadays, people like Ridley Scott, they should just say, you know what? I have a longer vision and a bigger story. I don't have to make a movie. I could, with Netflix, regardless, why don't we just make it into a long, like 10, 12 episodes? Something like, I don't know if you've been watching it, but right now, that's my go to favorite TV show going on. It's a miniseries called
Yes.
Shogun.
Shogun. Yeah, I've seen the trailers and I think yeah, it looks amazing.
Fucking incredible, dude. Like today, I just saw the episode. It releases every Tuesday. It's only, unfortunately, it's a 10 episode miniseries. I think we're by 4 or 5. So we're
Those
like
are
at
the
the
best. Those are the yeah, the ones that's like a single miniseries. It's not
bro,
gonna
it looks like a movie every it's expensive and it is bloody and they show everything. It you have to watch it. It's on Hulu. I think they also have it on FX. It's like a
yeah,
dual.
it's on FX and then they own by Hulu, yeah. But
Oh
yeah,
man.
it looks good.
Awesome.
I've seen the trailers and the spots, and I've heard, I've seen people on YouTube talk about it. But yeah, really, Scott, his movies all look good. Even the movies that are not all his
Oh,
movies.
yeah, that's his thing. His visual style is impeccable.
All his movies look good, whether they're not really, whether they're subpar, and the costumes are amazing and the effects are good. They've done that before.
He's doing. You heard that the Gladiator sequel or prequel, whatever the hell it is that they're
Sequel.
doing. They said it looks so good that the studios have like tripled the budget of the advertising campaign because they're blown away by the dailies.
I'm
They're like,
hoping it's good. I'm hoping it's good. It's going to be exactly the same movie with just the son of Joaquin Phoenix, the nephew of Joaquin
yeah,
Phoenix.
that's what it is, I believe, right?
Yeah, it's the kid. It's the kid grown up now.
What's his name?
Lucius.
Lucius.
Yeah,
That's
I love
right.
Gladiator. I was watching some of it the other day, and yeah, I've seen some pictures of behind the scenes with them in armor, and it looks so good.
The thing about no matter what, I'm always there for Ridley, bro. Because when he hits it, he fucking nails it, bro. Whenever he does it right, it's like a movie for generations to come. People will always watch it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
When
yeah.
he hits it and when he doesn't hit it, it's still an all right watch. You
Yeah,
know?
it's still good. Still looks
It's never
good. It's still
horrendous. It's
okay.
never like, oh my God, what is this shit? Like John Woo stuff. You know? It's like, yeah, it was good.
Like
It's not my favorite, but it was fine.
the movie he did about like 10 years ago that everyone forgot about that looks really good. It wasn't that good, but it had some good moments. The Moses one with Christian Bale, remember?
I don't think I saw that.
Exodus. It's called Exodus.
I never saw that. I
It's
never saw that.
basically Ridley Scott's version of the Prince of Egypt,
The thing
right?
with, yeah. The thing with really
But
is that sometimes you'll
that's
show out these movies out of nowhere that you don't even remember that he made them, and then they just go by.
yeah, that scene at the end where they do like it's a realistic version of Moses. So they have that whole scene at the end when the Red Sea splits open.
Yeah.
It looks good because they made it look realistic. It's more like a tsunami thing, and they have a huge scene where the Moses and his brother going at it with the chariots, gladiator style.
Yeah.
And then the wave is coming, and they're trying to do it before that. Yeah, it looks good.
I heard there's a great outtake where he's dressed like Moses Christian Bale and he's just like bitching out the lighting and the audio guy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's screaming at. Yeah, there's a deleted scene where he's screaming up at God. Good for
Good for
you.
you.
Good
Good
for
for
you.
you. I'm Moses.
he drops the Ten Commandments and he gets pissed off. He's like, "Get it done." But oh, and then Napoleon has another similar horse thing where the horse gets the cannon in his chest. Do you remember that?
Oh yes,
That was
yeah.
good. That sound effect, that glunk,
And
it's really good.
it's like he actually is like just like see
Embarrassed,
he's like mad. That was his favorite horse.
embarrassed. Yeah, he's embarrassed, and then he pulls the. I love how the horse is still there after the battle. It's still there, like
Pulls
alone.
a thing out of his chest.
He pulls the cannonball out of his chest and he gives it
Yeah.
to someone. Yeah, yeah.
Ugh, gross, gross. Different times. Well, okay, third director that you were talking about.
Oh, the third one was Thanksgiving, Eli Roth. And
You know what? Believe it or not, bro, somehow that one has flown under the radar for me, and I keep remembering to watch it because it's there. I can click it.
it's worth watching. It's
I haven't watched it. I'm like, fuck, I should watch that. The thing is, the further we get away from the holidays, the least inclined I am to watch a Thanksgiving movie. It's weird. I'm like that. I have to be in the mood and
it's
in the
okay.
right.
It's not horrible, but it's not like good Eli Roth, in my opinion. It's not
It's
fucking
just like
oh,
it took me forever to get around to Krampus. I missed it in the holidays, and I'm like, I don't want to
I never
watch it
saw
at
it.
Christmas time.
I never saw Krampus yet. It was good still, right? It was good.
It was good, but it's not Trick or Treat.
Gotcha.
Trick or Treat, Trick or Treat is that's his main badass film. This is it looks as good. It's beautifully shot. It's dark. It's all kinds of amazing creature designs and stuff. It feels you know what it does? He does a good job in making it feel along the lines of the same vibe as Gremlins.
Okay.
Kind of like a dark but like Christmassy and fun type of film, but it's fucked up at the same time.
Yeah,
And,
every time I see clips from Krampus or the trailer, it reminds me of that very old episode of Tales from the Crypt with the evil
oh,
Santa
with the
Claus.
Santa Claus killer guy.
It reminds me of like that vibe.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Anytime you put horror in a Christmas vibe, it's that's what you get basically. But yeah, man, I Thanksgiving, everybody talked about it. A lot of people loved it.
It was,
The Mecha action figure came out, and I'm like, I still haven't fucking seen it.
yeah, I'm not on the boat that I loved it or anything. It was worth watching. I think you'll like it.
I
It just
know that you are probably in the same boat that I would be, and I haven't seen it. In which I'm already disappointed that it doesn't look like the Grindhouse trailer. It looks more like
that was the
a
first thing.
it looks
It
like
didn't go there.
Scream. It looks like a Scream
It
movie.
is like Scream. They talk like Scream. It tries to
Yeah,
be like hip like Scream. It's basically like Scream.
I'm here for the gritty shit. I don't want the fucking cleaned up teeny bopper shit. It's like I don't need. I know what you did last summer. You know what I
That's
mean?
what
It's
it feels
like
like. It feels like that. I mean, the premise is
not to
interesting.
hate, not to hate on those films because I feel like they have a place, but where Thanksgiving originated from to where it ended up so many years later, it feels like the studios got their hands on it. You know what I mean?
Totally, they
Streamers
did.
back. We got to do something like that. It's like, oh, come on, man.
You'll appreciate there are hints of him on purpose doing homages to people like people that know about things like the opening shot it starts just like Halloween. It's a POV of the front of a house and someone breathing, and the camera walks up and they
Yeah,
knock on the door and then they trick you and it opens the door and it's like just a policeman saying hi, how you doing? They make you think it's sinister and then it just cuts.
yeah, okay, okay.
None of the kills from the trailer are in the movie except the trampoline one.
Oh,
But
oh, the girl like coming down on the trampoline
no,
with
he
the
doesn't do that. The girl is naked. The girl's naked, and the guy is watching her. But they don't do this thing. She
yeah,
gets
because
stabbed. They couldn't do it. She gets
that's too
stabbed as she's
hardcore.
bouncing. She gets stabbed on the back as she's bouncing. They don't do the really extreme part. And
Which
the
is funny to
guy
me
is like,
because I feel like was it uh was it a Bloomhouse film?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
think
'Cause
so.
I feel like
It was a
Eli
Sony
Roth,
movie. It was a studio movie. It was Sony. And the last Eli Roth movie that I really liked was The Green Inferno. You saw
Green
that?
Inferno.
That
But
was
that's why I'm like when he feels like it, he makes some grimy as fuck.
yeah, the first Hostel's great.
Right?
Um, Green Inferno. I didn't see did then he does the studio ones like Death Wish. I never saw that with Bruce Willis. I think that was Eli Roth. They
I
remade
didn't,
Death Wish a couple years ago, but it just looked
I
generic.
didn't shit. Nah, I didn't see that either. I'm trying to see who was the studio for Thanksgiving.
I think it's Sony.
Uh I don't know. It's just showing me where it was filmed and all that. Who released it? Maybe. Well, anyways,
I think it's I think it was Sony Thanksgiving movie. Let's see. Yeah, Sony Pictures.
Sony Pictures.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Very screamy, oh, who's the killer? And it's like and actually the murders are not even that violent. They're violent, but they're not like what you expect.
As raw, hardcore
Yeah,
as.
yeah, yeah. But like the trampoline scene and in the trailer, do you remember the final scene? They're all sitting down for Thanksgiving dinner, and he has like a person that's cooked, and he's like having sex with it.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah.
They do have a scene where the gimmick of the movie is every time he kills someone, he takes a picture, he sets a dinner plate, and he takes a picture and he starts sending it to everybody like you're invited for dinner. So all the every time he kills someone, he brings them to the table.
Like their bodies, and he
Their
sits them
body,
down.
what's left of their bodies, yeah, and he's sending them. It's very modern, so it's all Instagram and
Yeah, yeah,
social
yeah.
media and shit like that. And then there's a message. There's obviously there's a satirical message about consumerism. The whole event in the beginning is a Black Friday thing that goes
That's right.
wrong.
And people are fighting and shit, and
Yeah, and that's the whole motive for the killer. Something that happened that day. He wants revenge because like the Walmart company.
somebody got the 65-inch TV that he wanted.
Yeah, kind of like that. There is something where they're going for these specific things and they're literally, you know. So it doesn't know what to be. It goes from like being like a Scream type movie to a very satirical kind of like Tarantino thing, and then it doesn't know what to do, but it
Right, right, right.
was disappointing. But it's worth watching, but don't expect too much from it.
Okay.
That was
Well,
it.
let's wrap it up on this part. And now we're going to talk about the main topic at hand here. We're going to do a little cult vote review here for 1990s Sam Raimi directorial, not debut, but I think his first studio movie.
Yeah, his first studio movie, his first real movie. Yeah, his first big budget studio
Big
movie.
budget, right? Which is DarkMan.
1990. Do you remember the first time you
1990.
saw it? Did you see it in theaters?
I saw it in fucking theaters, bro, and I'll never forget watching it and just being like, "This is like a superhero movie for real." It was like, imagine, young kid, you're in the theater, Darkman comes out, and like the camera angles, the way things are moving and shit. To that point, the year before that, I think, is when Batman came out.
Yeah, you said yeah.
Also, you have a very similar score.
Yep. And Danny Elfman, I think.
Danny Elfman on board doing a very similar Batman score.
Yeah.
Obviously it's different, but there's a lot of parts in it that you're like, dude, I could hear Batman
Oh
in
yeah,
there.
it does. It does more like a sadder, the don don don, more like a
Yeah,
sadder. Yeah, yeah.
yes. You
And
have you have a young Liam Neeson, which at the time was still kind of an unknown.
yeah,
This was his bird. I think this is the first time he was the lead in a film.
yeah, he was still unknown really until like Rob Roy and all that era where he was like
Right.
Oscar. And young
Actually,
Frances McDormand, young.
she was nobody also at the time. She had more pull than he did, but she was still not the actress that everybody knows her for. I don't even know.
I think he passed away, the late great Larry Drake, Dr. Giggles.
Larry Drake was hilarious in this fucking movie.
I think he was probably the most known there because he was on a TV show, I think, back in the day. He was
Probably
on,
opera or something. Who knows?
he was on a TV
He's one of
show.
these guys that was in every TV show in the 90s and
Yeah.
80s. So, Okay, so 1990, Darkman. All right. I saw it in theaters as a kid. I vividly remember it always, from that movie on, I already had seen Evil Dead 2. That was, I think, the
Oh,
first Sam Raimi film I saw. Then I saw Darkman, and I was like, I was hooked on him. So when my all-time favorite Sam Raimi movie came out a little bit later, I made it a point to go to the theater to watch it, which was
Army
Army
of
of
Darkness.
Darkness. Right. But okay, the way Darkman starts. All right. I was laughing so fucking hard when I rewatched it last week. Did you just rewatch it recently or no?
I've seen it recently. I didn't watch it as early as you did, but I did watch it recently in the last couple years. I did see it again.
from the beginning. You saw Reese
Yeah,
last
from the
time.
beginning, the whole beginning with the whole
The
warehouse
warehouse.
sequence.
Bro, that shit had me in tears because it's so fucking bullshit, but in a good way. Okay, so they introduce you to to the main bad guys. All right, you got Larry Drake and his handful of henchmen, which is maybe 5 or 6 guys. Right, you got the guy with the peg leg machine gun.
And the long hair, yeah.
Right, you got this little
Yeah, you
you
got the
you got
Fester,
Ted Raimi.
the
You get
Fester
Ted
looking guy, yeah,
Raimi.
Ted Raimi.
Okay, you get these little handful of guys. That's his posse. That's their little mob, and they built this fucking place up to be right. There's like the kingpin of the town, right? This tall black dude in the trench coat.
Yeah, with the
And
fro.
yeah, and they're driving to his like headquarters because they're gonna take over his shit. And he's like, he wants to meet up with them, you know. And there's a montage of how many fucking people are in this warehouse. Okay, I don't know if you remember as vividly because I saw it just
Yeah,
a couple of days ago. David, there's at least 500 heads in that place. Construction workers, random guys that look, they just picked them off the street and they're all packing for no reason. They're like walking around with machine guns, Uzi.
yeah.
These are 5 fucking guys, okay? So they get there, they get out of the car, and they have the face off. Dr. Giggles and the main kingpin that he's going to take over the territory of, right? And the guy's just belittling him, making fun of him, all that shit. Larry Drake doesn't say one fucking word. That guy's doing all the talking. And they keep cutting back to them in like Sam Raimi esque shots, long shots, close ups, his face just staring at the guy, you know, all this shit. And then he literally takes the leg from his henchman, which is a machine gun, and the guy kills 500 people that are all around the building in every floor, right? He's shooting them and they're all dropping like by the hundreds. It's hilarious. And then out of nowhere, cars start flying out of like cargo holes that are like levitated in the air with chains.
Oh yes, yes, yes.
Henchmen's flying out, driving, and the guy with the one peg leg is killing everybody. The cars are crashing. I'm like,
How
what
many
the
bullets are in that gun, right?
It's never ending, but it kind of sets the tone for
Yeah,
DarkMan.
yeah.
It's literally a comic book. It doesn't fucking matter. There's no rules applied here. This is before comic books decided to get dark and realistic. This is like comic book, okay?
But it was still dark and violent. You know,
Oh no, violent. Yes, violent. Absolutely. It's super
that whole
fucking
beginning
dark.
reminds me of like
DarkMan, no
like
pun
an
intended.
like every like early 90s action movie. It just looks like that, right? You know, like the Lethal Weapons and the
Oh, it
RoboCop.
has that total look to it. Absolutely. The so anyways, that's the intro.
And then the scene with when he has the cigar thing.
Yeah, oh no, that's his thing. That's his calling card. He
I have a
cuts
question. I have a
people's
question.
fingers.
I always assume that he's cutting his fingers. That's what's supposed to be happening, right?
Yes, he's cutting all the fingers one at a time.
But you can still, but when you look at it now, you can see the
There's no
fingers.
blood.
There's no blood, so I'm like, oh, is he breaking his bones?
No, yeah. They can't shoot.
But then he goes get the fingers. So I'm like, oh, he's cutting it. Yeah, I love that intro. Since I was a kid, I remember that. He does 1, 2, 3, and he goes, third one, I have 7 more points.
Yeah. And when he cuts it, the guy's screaming, oh, and the camera zooms in his mouth.
Yeah. And it turns into the smoky intro. Yeah.
So yeah, it's fucking amazing, bro. Like the title sequence is out of control, man. It's like time lapse thunderstorms and lightning with titles going across and
Yeah. And all those scenes, well, of his subconscious or whatever, he repurposed some of that and redid it for Spider-Man. The scenes he repurposed.
You can see a lot of Spider-Man borrowing from Darkman and Evil Dead for sure. He totally shoved in as much as he could in there from that.
I remember seeing this in the theater when I was 10 with my dad, but I don't think I had seen Evil Dead or Evil Dead 2 yet. So I think this might be my first Sam Raimi movie.
Oh, okay.
My dad knew who he was. I guess he saw the Evil Dead ones because he wanted to go see it and he kept saying, Sam Raimi. He knew who he was. So I'm guessing he already knew what Evil Dead was.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never forget the teaser trailer for that movie. I'll never forget it. The teaser trailer was I think it was just this, and it ended with him on the rope being pulled by the helicopter, smashing into the window, and it says, "Who
Excuse me.
is DarkMan?" And he goes,
He
"Excuse me."
crashes through the window. He's like, "Excuse me," and then
And
it
he jumps
cuts.
out, and it had the title, and I was like, "What is this?
Yeah.
What is this? I gotta go see this." Yeah, yeah.
So then basically,
But it was a bomb, huge bomb.
oh no, yeah, huge bomb. Actually, I have the numbers right here. I think it cost 14 million, and
Wow.
worldwide, I mean, it made his money. It made 48.
But yeah, but it wasn't like popular at the time. Like, you know, it
No,
was
no,
a big
no,
bomb.
no, no. It wasn't. It wasn't. They didn't lose money, but it was nothing for them. You know what I mean? Then you get cool little intro of Liam Neeson. He's a scientist. He's working on prosthetics and
Yes.
like for amputees and stuff. He's working with this like synthetic skin that can blend in perfectly and shit. But the problem is, it's photosynthesis. So every time sunlight hits them, they deteriorate. They
It
just
only
like,
lasts, what was the number? It only lasts like what, 79 minutes or something?
oh no, no, no,
Minutes.
seconds, seconds. They're
No,
trying.
no.
In the beginning, it only lasts
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah.
seconds, and they're trying to like figure out why, and then accidentally one day they're working in
Power
the
goes out.
they're working late, so the main lights are off, and it lasts for a long time, and it's still going and going, and they're like, "What the hell is it?" And that's when he realizes the lights are off. Whatever.
Yeah, yeah, I remember. Okay, yeah.
So basically, what's happening is what I believe happens is that where that his warehouse is, where the laboratory is sort of like the land that the mobsters are trying to bully everybody out of because they want to build skyscrapers, right?
Yeah, the
So,
classic 80s corporate
oh
plot.
yeah, 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 yeah. The corporate
Goonies,
takes for
Goonies
sure.
plot.
So they show up one late night when he's working there with his partner, and they basically trash the place, kill the partner, and then they have fun with him and they torture him because they're asking him some bit of information that he doesn't know what the hell they're talking about and they don't believe him.
But
So
I'm sorry for interrupting. But doesn't it also have to do with his wife? His wife works with the dude, and there was like a
well,
memo.
you don't find that out till later.
The memo with the coffee stain
Yeah.
on it. Yeah.
Ends up being that her boss is the guy who they work for who's buying out. He's like the real estate guy, you know? So
He's like the Dick Jones of the movie.
yeah, kind of like the Dick
And then
Jones.
he has the muscle doing all the crime.
Right. Right. But they torture him until they decide to kill him. And one of the scenes that make me laugh so hard is that Ted Raimi, as one of the henchmen, starts to dunk Liam Neeson in a vat of what I only assume is hot chemical acid.
Yeah.
When you're watching it, he's laughing and doing it with his bare hands in the liquid. So every time they cut to Liam Neeson's face, little by little, they show you more facial deterioration.
But
But
his
when you're
hand is
watching the
fine.
wide shots, he's just with his bare arms dunking him in the water, you know, and you can tell they're all holding it in. They're all having a great time, and they just left it in the movie. But you're like, wouldn't he have nubs by the end of that fucking scene? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
he leaves, you know, he's like, it's all good. This guy's face is all burned and shit. And then they have that badass shot that they used to use in the trailer where
His
they
hand.
get the gas open, they put a lighter, and they got that little liquid bird.
Third, yeah, that wide angle, that fisheye shot of it going. Blink.
And when it touches it, it reminds me of Blown Away when Tommy
Yes.
Lee Jones thing. It's that rotoscoped widescreen explosion.
Yeah, it's that really those cameras that go really close that they would do.
Yeah.
And then if you watch that scene again, because I saw that part recently too. The explosion happens, and then there's a cool like film school shot. It's just Liam Neeson with a light bulb in front of him going like this. Did you notice that shot?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Just like a light, really quick, going like that, and then they just cut to the explosion.
Yeah.
And they have that really cool, it's blue screen of her.
Flying out the fire.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
screaming. Yeah, that shot's great. And it looks animated, like little drawn
It's probably a blue screen model.
puppet or something. Yeah, and then it shows her, and then it does the dissolve to the cemetery.
In the cemetery, in the same pose. They
Yeah,
did
yeah.
a dissolve, yeah. But they don't kill him because he flies out the window and lands in the lake. Other thing that makes absolutely no sense. They cut after the funeral to a medical lab.
Yeah.
It's a hospital. And they have him in a room in a whole burned suit, you know? And
He's rotating on that thing. Yeah.
Right. And the doctors are like showing him off to like medical people, like he's an experiment. Like, oh, we have him. They did something to his cortex where he can't feel pain. But the side effect is the only thing the brain can feel
His
is
rage, emotion.
amplified. So
Yeah.
like rage and shit like that is like times 10 and he feels no pain. And I'm thinking to myself, why would you fucking do that? Why would you? Oh, not only that, his body produces nonstop
Adrenaline.
adrenaline. So he's super strong, feels no pain, and is full of anger. I'm like, such bullshit. Why would you do that? What do you think is gonna happen? You know,
Yeah,
it's
it's such a sci-fi movie thing. And then the main doctor is the lady from American Werewolf in London. She's the doctor.
right. Yes.
She's a horror
Yes.
movie. Yeah. She's yeah, yeah. And
So
it's
she's
very Frankenstein though. It's very Frankenstein.
no. This
And a
movie,
little bit like RoboCop too, like RoboCop, where they brutalize him and then they turn him into a freak.
I wrote it here. This is kind of like a superhero movie mixed in with Phantom of the Opera because he
Yeah.
looks with
Yeah,
the
he's
band.
disfigured, Phantom of the Opera, The Crow, a lot of these things.
He
Yeah.
took a lot from like Universal Monsters looks because he's got a little bit of the mummy in him.
Oh yeah.
Especially when the wraps start to get undone and his like lower jaws just like raw bone and teeth. He looks like the mummy, you know. There's a lot of stuff that he took from Universal horror, which is what makes this movie even better because it's really fucking dark.
Right there
But
when he escapes the hospital, they have a great shot of him walking through the alley in the rain.
oh yeah, yeah, it
It
looked
just
like the
sees her.
Spider-Man footage he did originally.
Oh
With
yeah.
Mock Alley with the rain and all dark with the dumpsters and the
And Tobey
steam.
Maguire was fighting them. Yeah.
But the the plot is so like quickly shoved in there of how he survived and why he is the way he is. So of course he wakes up in the hospital, bursts through the shackles, jumps out the window, and escapes. So he goes back to his like Frankenstein's burnt out laboratory where it could be his like hideout,
Yeah.
and he starts to hook up whatever computers the explosion didn't fuck up, and he starts to like try to make facial and prosthetics for himself so that he could go in society and try to blend in. And it's great because this is where like he's off, but for being the hero, he's a fucked up person. Mentally, he is like splintered. He is a disaster. Like he can't. He's trying to get his girlfriend back, but he's a fucking horrid beast. So he makes the mask to look like
Yeah.
he's Liam Neeson again, and he contacts her and like convinces her that it's him, that he's not dead, whatever. They start going out on dates and shit, and then one of the
Yeah, how
best scenes of the whole movie.
How does that work now? I haven't seen. He just calls her and she just believes he's alive.
No, that scene where you're talking about where he's in the rain.
Yeah.
He goes to her apartment and she's walking home.
Yeah, and she gets scared and
He
runs away.
grabs her. He grabs her, but he's like mumbling. He looks like a burnt victim, you know.
Yeah.
He's like freaks out and runs away. And then he's like, oh shit. That's when he realizes I can't come like this, you know. So that's when he goes back and he starts like working on making the mask, and everything is all fucked up on the computer, so it can only do half a face. So he has to like mimic
Yeah, because
those
his picture,
and all that.
the picture that he scanned was burnt, right?
Burnt, so it's missing
Yeah.
half a face.
But I'm
So
saying once she sees him with the skin, he just
yeah.
tells her,
No, she freaks out and she's like, she doesn't believe it. She's like, kind of like, is this real? This can't be, whatever. And he starts telling her, this is what happened. I'm telling you, it's me. And I've been locked away in a rehab facility and all this shit. So she's like, oh my God, I can't believe it, you know? And so then she's like, you have to let me see you again. And he's like, oh, I can't. I'm in my rehab. I only came to see you. I have to see you like sporadically or whatever. So then he takes her on a date to the carnival. That's one of the most iconic fucking scenes that I always remember as a kid.
yeah,
Where that's when you see his fucked up, broken personality start coming out, right? So he goes to win a prize with
the pink elephant.
baseball at the Cubs trick, and the carney doesn't want to give him the fucking stuffed elephant.
Yeah.
And he's like, you were behind the line. And he's like, what the fuck do you mean? I'm behind the line. I was on the line. And he starts getting fucking mad. You know Liam Neeson? He starts to turn into Taken Liam Neeson.
Yeah.
He's like, I am behind the fucking line. All right. And he's like, the Carney's like, fuck you, buddy. Move on, you know? And then Sam Raimi goes fucking full Sam Raimi, and the background spins and turns dark, and lightning starts fucking happening. And it starts going in his fucking face. And you see like his face is twitching, and he starts going crazy. He's like, and then they zoom in on him. He's like, give me the fucking elephant. And the guy's like, fuck you. He's like, give me the pink fucking elephant. And he grabs his fucking fingers and snaps them.
Twist them, and then they do that shot where it's like 360, right?
Yeah, they start going crazy with the shot, and Francis McDermott is like freaking out, like screaming or whatever. He's got the guy's fingers all twisted in his hand, and he gives the fucking elephant. He's like, here, take the fucking.
And then he starts bubbling, right? Doesn't he start bubbling afterwards?
Yeah, he starts bubbling, so he runs away and smoking out of his head, and she's chasing him. So fucking good. So fucking good. It's funny because a lot of it, the effects don't hold up because it took, at the time, it was a low budget film.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
there's a lot of like rotoscoping and shit going on. And the more HD movies get nowadays, the more you can see it, you know? But to me, it adds to the charm of the film. I love it. I love this outdated shit. And it's still such a well-made film. And I just remember being in the theater and seeing that shit for the first time. But the pink fucking elephant scene always gets me, man. It's one of my all-time favorite scenes.
And then the first one he kills is Ted Raimi, right?
Yeah. He goes to that.
He bobs him in the sewer, and then he gets run over.
Yeah. The car in between traffic and everything's. You can tell they sped it up in editing. The cars are flying by him, you know, and even his head is like fast motion. He's like, he's just like a puppet.
I remember thinking it looked like a puppet, and then it becomes kind of like the Crow, RoboCop, the Crow. He goes one at a time, and he starts like framing them too. He starts doing
he starts dressing. He starts dressing like a
bald guy.
And then there's a fucking famous scene. There's a one famous scene where he's like on the
revolving door,
hotel rotating doors.
And that was clever. That's clever because you can see where they're doing the editing and the rotation.
Yeah. But it looks good.
And then they have that shot from the trailer when you see both of them. And then they have that guy, the Hispanic guy that's in every movie.
He's the bad guy. He's a henchman. Yeah.
Which one is it? Yeah.
Shoot him! No, shoot him! That old, you know, that
they still do that now.
Still do that shit. Yeah. But man. And then after that, exactly. He starts killing them one at a time. He starts dressing. He starts dressing like Larry Drake and doing random shit in a montage to get him in trouble. He goes to a convenience store and he holds it up and he's like, "That's right, cause I'm Durant." And he looks at the camera.
Yeah. Dick Tracy, like the Dick Tracy scene when they framed Dick Tracy.
Yes, but what I love is that it's classic Sam Raimi editing. They do the fucking the hold up scene. He's like, "Yes, I'm Kevin Durant. I'm not Kevin Durant. Whatever his name is, Durant, whatever." And he looks at the camera, and it dissolves to a cop's face. "Are you Durant?" And he's at his house. Yes.
I love those transitions that he does. They're great.
Yeah, no. The editing and the fucking style is the main thing in this film. Like that is the main character. I think Sam Raimi, that was his normal style, but he took it up a notch just to make it a point that this is like a comic book. Because I think originally he wanted the studio to let him do a comic book superhero at the time.
I was going to bring that up. I think he wanted to do Batman, right? He wanted to do a major comic book.
Yeah. Actually, I think he was maybe trying to do Spider-Man at that time still.
So he just created his own.
And they wouldn't, so he's like, I'm just going to write my own. And he invented DarkMan, you know? And it's kind of like a hodgepodge of like Batman and Spider-Man because he swings through the city at one point. And which, by the way, that helicopter fucking swing scene was a crazy stunt, man.
Oh, yeah, a lot of that's real. Or most of that
was real.
Yeah, except for the close-ups. Yeah.
Going around the skyscrapers. That was an amazing fucking stunt.
Oh, yeah. That's something that they most likely wouldn't do now.
No.
It would have to be like a Christopher Nolan movie to do it for real.
Nowadays, everything is done with drones or green screen. like stuntmen nowadays probably have like 30% of the work they used to have back in the day, man, to be honest with
I know.
you.
I know.
And then of course, at the end, the big showdown is like in the factory warehouse, right? That's where it was. It's like a big
No,
shoot.
the ending is at the construction site, right? The building.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a warehouse construction site, whatever. You could tell like they only had like 3 locations the whole movie. They used the shit out of these things, but it's funny. Durant dies in the helicopter crash, no?
Yeah, he pins him. He hooks him to the semi, and he smashes it onto the side of the bridge.
But then they went on to make 2
I
shitty
know.
VHS
The
sequels where
return. Yeah, it was
the
called The
return
Return
of
of Durant.
Durant. And it's like, what the fuck? How did he live? It's like bullshit.
I don't remember. I think I saw the first one that went straight
I've
to
seen
video.
them. I've seen them both, but I was like in middle school. I can't even tell you anything. I just remember that instead of
Mummy.
Lee Houston, they got the guy from Lawnmower
Mummy.
Man.
Wasn't he in the third one?
Oh, maybe they
I
changed
thought
the
it
law.
was the mummy guy. The mummy guy was in it
Darkman,
too.
maybe. Yeah.
Wasn't the mummy guy in the second one? The Arnold Vosloo.
Oh, maybe.
And I think the third one, they couldn't even afford him. And I think the third one, DarkMan Die or something like that.
Darkman die. Okay, so Darkman 2, The Return of Durant,
Was Arnold
had
Vosloo?
Arnold Vosloo.
Yeah.
You're right. And then part 3
Is Lawnmower Man, I think. They couldn't even afford him because he was already making like the mummy and shit.
Jeff
Fahey, that's the Lawnmower Man.
Fahey. Yep. Die Darkman 3. Yeah. Larry Drake is still in the sequel, of course, because he's Durant, but they kept him the same. But I don't think he's in the third one. He's not in the third one. So in the third one, it's weird because on part 3, it shows both Arnold Vosloo and Jeff Fahey. So I don't know. I don't remember.
I think Jeff Fahey is Darkman.
And Vosloo is the bad guy?
I think so.
In part 2.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Part 2, I don't see Jeff Fahey at all. It's only Vosloo. Anyways, I'm not going to watch the trailer right now, but those sequels came out around the time of The Shadow. You remember that with Alec Baldwin?
Yeah, that's when the VHS sequels were popping. Tremors 2, all the ones that didn't come to theaters, they would go straight. Yeah, 94, 95.
Another underrated film. I liked The Shadow back in the day. And it was weird.
A long time.
It's like handsome, young Alec Baldwin by day, like Bruce. But then when he's The Shadow, it's his fat brother.
It's Fat Baldwin.
With like a nose prosthetic. It was so weird. I was like, why did you change the actors?
That famous scene when it goes around him and it's him. Yeah. Who was it? Which Baldwin is? Not Steven, the other one. The one from Vampires. Daniel Baldwin.
It's funny because I don't even know if they credit him. I don't even see him in the credited area here in IMDb. Maybe he did it. Maybe he's not even on credited for it. He just did it and got paid for it. Yeah, which is an odd move, but Ian McKellen is in that movie, man. I barely even remember that movie, but I like it. It was very stylistic.
Yeah, I forgot who directed. I think the director of that movie is not a big name. His name was, I think, Chuck Russell. Is it Chuck Russell, the director
of The Shadow? I'll tell you right now.
Chuck Russell. Oh
no, Russell Mulcahy.
Oh, okay.
I don't know who he is.
I was confusing another guy, but he's done something else too. That guy. There were like these. I thought it was the guy who did The Mask, and a couple other movies.
What an odd choice when they made that film. Of course it flopped. It was like a 1930s like radio serial. Why would they like think that was gonna make money?
That was at the tail end, I think, of the whole old comic. When Dick Tracy came out, then they did The Rocketeer. They were doing all these 1930s, 40s Art Deco movies,
which I love, by the way. I'm all for it, but
and like The Phantom also. Remember, The Phantom was that kind of movie too. The Phantom.
Yeah. Except The Phantom was bad.
They were still doing those kind of fantasy movies.
Yeah.
I always remember since a kid that big finale, those shots of the bolts flying, right? He has these close up of the bolts that are flying when he's shooting in the.
Oh yeah.
I remember those shots of the bolt flying by.
Yeah, those are Evil Dead shots.
Oh yeah, totally Evil Dead.
But yeah, that was our little quick
Hmm.
recap on Darkman.
We can't forget the cameo at the end of our boy Bruce Campbell.
Which, by the way, he was supposed to be Darkman, but the studio were like, we
They
need a
wanted
big
a
name. So you imagine
interesting,
how much better the slapstick and like out of control shit Bruce Campbell would have done if it would have been not Liam Neeson.
yeah, it would have been interesting, and it kind of would have changed the movie a little bit because Liam Neeson, in the beginning, he plays it so straight that
Always a straight man. Yeah, that's Liam
the only
Neeson.
one that you believe it.
Even though something about it being Liam Neeson, such a straight man, when he cuts loose and he starts going crazy, it makes it a little bit that much better, I think. Because you're like, he even says it nowadays. He's like, I did that movie when I was very young. And it was like, I was like, hell yeah, I'm the main guy. I'm down to do whatever. He's like, I wouldn't do half the shit if it was nowadays. He's like,
Yeah,
back then we were doing whatever. And I'm like, you could tell he was young, he didn't give a fuck, he was having fun with it. But
yeah, he says that, but then he's supposedly in the Naked Gun remake, so we'll see.
Frank Drebin with
I mean,
skills.
I see why they're picking him because they're
Is
doing.
he straight man? But does he have comedic timing? I
That's the
don't.
thing because people forget that Liam it's funny because they both have similar names.
Liam
Um,
Neeson and
Leslie Nielsen used to be
Leslie Nielsen. Yes.
Leslie Nielsen was before a serious actor. He was in
Yeah.
a bunch of B movies. He was always played like a serious military guy.
Yep.
And when he started making like Airplane and Naked Gun, the joke was that because he's normally plays a straight guy.
Police Squad, all that shit.
I
That's
think
where
I
he
could see
started.
him do it. I mean, if they're gonna do it, they could do worse. He played the bad guy in a comedy in that Seth, the guy who did Family Guy, Seth
Yes.
MacFarlane. Yes, remember he was the
Yes.
bad guy. I
Yes.
think he could. I think he could pull it off. It just who's making it though. That's the thing. I don't know who's making it. Like what comedy team
Why do
is
I want to say that it is
Seth
also
Rogen? Seth
Seth
Rogen.
MacFarlane?
They're hit and miss though. The thing is that style of comedy. You know, talking about the J. Abrams guys. They were
Dave,
perfect
it's
at it.
it's going to be missed because nowadays you can't get away with the comedy you did in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Everything is so fucking politically correct. You can't. Like even Naked Gun. Bro, there's so much
Airplane.
shit in the Naked Gun movies that you're like, oh my god, they will never be able
Yes.
to do that.
Airplane. Airplane's full of
Oh
fucking
no, Airplane's
racist,
even worse.
sexist jokes.
Oh my, the stereotypes are through the
I
roof.
love the first Airplane is amazing. I still love that movie, even though it looks old
That's
now.
one.
The best, of course. I mean, that movie's so good. Like
You ever seen a grown man naked?
all that pedophile jokes and the stereotypical like terrorist guy that's killing himself with the terrorist with the Indian guy with the flame.
The black dudes in the plane with the
Straight
old
up,
white
straight up
talking
boob
jive.
shots. Yeah, the jive people. Leave
Oh,
it to Beaver.
awesome.
Leave it to Beaver mom speaking jive.
Suck a giant turkey.
Straight
Mama,
up,
you a fool.
straight up close up of boobs in one scene when the woman just walks in front of the camera with the tits.
I don't know what it is, but everything reminds me of her. The fucking two giant
Yeah,
buildings.
yeah, they're like two giant like reactors or something.
That
Oh,
was
Naked Gun is great. I
awesome.
love the Naked Gun too, and there's so many jokes that even when you watch it now that fly by you when you were a kid, it's like, oh shit, that was a joke. I didn't get it before.
Yeah, yeah,
All
yeah.
that shit in the background. I love the scene in First Naked Gun when he goes back to the docks and asks that guy for information. He gives him money, and then the guy gives him back the money.
Give it back the money. I don't know about that, but what time is that? Like $5 for you?
Yeah, it's so
My
good.
favorite gag in the Naked Gun movies are the two scientists that are like Q, and one's so tall that he's always off camera. All you see is his legs, and the one bit where he's like, "There's something in your lip," and half a banana fucking fall.
He goes, you have something on your face. And the big banana goes dunk. And Leeson goes, his reactions are the best, man.
That's what makes him great.
All the scenes with the doctor is great too. And they're just like walking through the set. And there's one scene. I don't know which movie, they all blend together. There's one part he goes, come with me. And everyone goes to the door and Leslie Nielsen goes around the set, the fake wall. And he looks at it, he's like, and then everyone just ignores it. Yeah.
There's like one bit, I don't know which one it was in or whatever, He's talking to a lady and she has a dog and he reaches down and he gives him a treat. He's like, it's a weird looking dog. And she's like, that's his tail. He's like, no wonder he didn't like that treat.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you hear like, don't you hear his finger going like it was in his butt or something?
Yes. That was so fucking good. You
Yeah, part
remember we
one, part
actually
two, even part three. Part three is my least favorite, but part three still has some good jokes. That's one of the
didn't we
Oscars.
go see him in
Yes,
Fort Lauderdale?
yes, we met him. We saw him when we
Yeah.
went to the Design Center of America with Camila Cardina from Zombie.
Yes.
We went to
Yes.
the Dakota building for some
They honored him.
gala. They honored him and we met Steve Gutenberg was there too.
That's right.
He was big. Remember, we were surprised how big he was. Like he was tall.
Yeah, 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 yeah. But it was so cool that we got to meet him.
We
I
got to
always
meet. He
forget
was
about
there.
that. We met him. We met Leslie
He
Nielsen.
did the fart. He spoke and he did the fart thing in front of the audience.
He always did. He always carried
Yeah.
that.
I think he passed away not that long after that.
I think it was literally like the next year or maybe 2 years after.
It was. He's buried. You know, he's buried here in Florida, in Miami, in Broward. Oh,
He lived near where that center was.
oh wow! I didn't
He
know
lived
that.
there.
I mean,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, anyways, let's start wrapping it up for this episode. We pretty much did the usual. We just talked about 9,000 topics, but by now you should know that's what you get. So,
Yeah, and it's good for sub clipping.
yeah, why not? Fuck it. But remember, DarkMan, man, if you guys haven't watched it, you want to see some good old school Sam Raimi and his roots of where he came from besides Evil Dead, DarkMan is the way to go. That was pre-Spider-Man with a touch of horror. Fucking great.
Yeah, it is great. Classic Sam Raimi. I wonder if we'll ever get that back. You think?
No, man, just like John Woo. Once he's a studio guy, even though
He tried with that Drag Me to Hell movie, remember?
Drag Me to Hell was fucking great.
Yeah. That movie's good, and the ending is really good too. I love that ending.
So he can do it when he wants to, but does he want to? I don't even know what the hell if he's doing anything lately.
Yeah, I think he did that Drag Me to Hell because he was tired. He did the 3 Spider-Mans in a row, and the fourth
It was
one,
burnt. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and the fourth one never went off. Remember, they quit.
Drama with part 3, he was like, "Fuck this! I need to go back and do some fun shit." And
So,
that's such a good movie.
those
That's
things.
an underrated one we should review.
Yes, Drag Me to Hell. People forgot about that movie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe we'll
And
do
he,
that next.
and he did another movie. I think you saw it. I've never seen it, but he did a serious movie with Bill Paxton and Billy Bob Thornton. Remember where they find money? A Simple Plan. It was like a serious.
Yeah, Simple Plan. Yeah, no, that's a good movie. That's a
And
good movie.
And then did he do one with Keanu Reeves and Katie Holmes? Some
Oh, that was a dark one too. It was about
it was something supernatural or something.
yeah,
Ghost.
yeah, yeah. She had like psychic visions and shit. I
Those are
don't
the
remember
ones.
that one too well.
Those are the ones he probably had to do to get Spider-Man. He had to do those studio movies.
Yeah, probably, but they were good though. Those are good.
Like you saw the last movie he did, right? The Doctor Strange 2.
Horrible, fucking trash.
I see the Sam Raimi in there, but it was just another Marvel.
It was horrible. That movie was so badly made. I couldn't believe it. You could tell that as a matter of fact, I don't remember if it's true or not. In my mind, I want to say that he was brought in last minute. I don't think he was always the guy that was going to do that movie.
You're right. The original director was the same director from the first one. And he quit in the middle. He quit last minute.
And you could tell they're like, you know what? We have Sam Raimi under contract still. Maybe we can bring him in and he can fill in and try to save this shit. And he added more horror elements to the movie than it originally did. And all the trailer did was milk the Sam Raimi stuff.
I was gonna say they used them just for the marketing from the director of Spider-Man.
Yeah, but I would never consider that a Sam Raimi movie. That's a bullshit shill move by the studio. But anyways, let's wrap it up. For this episode of the podcast, like always, guys, thank you for listening. Remember to follow us. You can go to thecreaturesofthenight.com. Same thing on Instagram. It's the_creatures of the night. We also have a Facebook page and all that. And remember to like and subscribe and all that good bullshit on YouTube. We could use the pub and review this podcast on iTunes, Spotify. Even if you didn't like it, review it. We'll take it. So, David, until next time, my buddy.
Until next time, we'll see you next year. Not just kidding. We'll
Actually, we may do a Drag Me to Hell coming soon.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I want to see that again.
Sounds like a plan.
So
Sounds
next time,
perfect
have a
plan.
good night.
All right, guys.